Hey gang, it's Platt here. We're continuing on our tour of French wine regions. Today we're in Loire. Loire is a French wine region that runs along the Loire River. The Loire River flows from central France up north to Orleans, where it turns west and ends up flowing through Muscadet out into the Atlantic Ocean. The Loire is made up of 87 different AOCs, VDQs, which is Vin Delimité de Qualité Supérieure, and which is kind of high quality wines that don't quite fit the labeling, and they may grow a grape in a different region or whatever, but still quality wines. That's what that designation is for. And also Vin de Pazes from this region. Loire is the second largest producer of champagne. Of course, it's behind, or I say champagne. Loire is the second largest producer of sparkling wines, behind, of course, champagne. Roughly 185,000 acres under vine. Roughly 2/3 of the area of Bordeaux. Just kind of give you a little visualization here. Due to climate, the vintage, or the year the grapes were grown, is more important in Loire than any other French wine region. So when buying a Loire wine, you really want to study the vintage year, unless it's drank real young. And the reason is the Loire plays such an important role in the microclimate. The Loire River gives a few extra degrees of warmth in the area around its banks. If you go a little further in, the climate's just not right to grow quality wine grape, but that area near the banks of the Loire, you can produce that kind of grape. But if you have any variations weather-wise, it really does change the wine. If you have a colder year, rainy year, what have you. So vintage is important in Loire. The Loire itself is broken up into three regions. The Upper Loire, which is a Sauvignon Blanc intensive region. You have the regions of Saint-Cyr and Pouilly-Fumé. The Middle Loire, which is more Cab or Chenin Blanc, Cab Franc intensive regions like Touraine, Chinon, and Vouvray. And then finally the Lower Loire, which includes the regions of Muscadet. And the primary grape there is a unique grape called Melon de Bourgogne. We remember from the Burgundy video that Bourgogne is a synonym for Burgundy. This grape's origin was in Burgundy, but it never took off there, but it was brought to Loire basically by the encouragement of Dutch merchants. They liked the high yield it produced, and they also liked its use in the production of brandy, which the Dutch really loved. But it ended up becoming a great local grape. A little history of the Loire wine industry. The Romans began planting vineyards roughly 1 AD when they were settling what was then called Gaul, but we know it today to be part of France. In the 11th century, wines from Saint-Cyr were starting to gain great reputation throughout Europe. And for most of the High Middle Ages, roughly 1000 to 1250 AD, the Loire Valley created probably the most prominent wines in France. The particular one we're going to try today is the Muscadet de Sevre in Maine. I hope I'm saying that right. I might not be. Obviously, French is not my first language. Anyway, this is a 2016. The AOC for this particular wine is just southeast of the city called Nantes, and it's near the Atlantic Ocean, which kind of works out because this wine itself works well with crab quiche, shellfish, and seafood. So makes sense since it's from near the Atlantic Ocean. Let's give her a try. All right, got a nice little sweet nose to it. There's a little bit of sweetness. I don't get a lot of acid, just a slight tingle on the side of the tongue. I can get a hint where the term melon, or melon, might play into this. A little more viscosity than that aligoté we tried from Burgundy. This is a nice, pleasant wine. Like I said, a little more body to it. It's got a slightly darker kind of gold color to it. Overall, pleasant wine. Pleasant wine. Something I think that could be drunk alone, not necessarily paired with food. Overall, pleasant wine. Well, I hope you liked this video. And if you did, please subscribe down below. Any questions, comments, or concerns, you can leave them in the comment section. Or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.